This is a story about what's behind the headlines in a newspaper. I was reading the paper the other day, and my little girl walked in. She saw what was on the headlines about some new jobs coming to town, and she said, as only a child can,
"Daddy, where do your jobs come from?"
Me, being a responsible parent, wanting to have an open relationship with my kids, I said, well, honey, I guess it's time we had the talk. You see, honey, when a company and its customers love each other very much, the company has an opportunity, some say an obligation, to grow. And when that happens, all the people in the company get together and they talk about all the reasons that they want to move or grow, things like that. And once they make a decision that they do want to grow, they get somebody smart inside their company to do some research and ask really hard questions. Things like, should we stay where we are, or should we look somewhere else to grow? If they decide they want to stay where they are and expand, they'll reach out to their friends and partners in the community, people whose job it is to help them grow their company. And they'll typically be the local business expansion team from a chamber of commerce, usually. If they decide they want to go, they might reach out to communities on their own, but very often they will engage the services of a person known as a site selection consultant. And together, the site selection consultant and the company will develop what's called a request for information, or an RFI. And that's the starting point for how they're going to grow. At that point, they pull together a lot of people. There's a team behind growing companies. And that team is charged with what's called economic development. And it is a team sport. And so some of the people who are on the team include officials from the city or county government. There are also people who come to the table from the state government, and all of them are working together to come up with the best deal for this company. And somebody else who comes to the table is the electric company or the utility, and they are each going to work together to make the best deal for that company. And so the team goes to work to figure out how they can attract more jobs from this company. And so the team from the city will come together and they will develop incentives around tax breaks, things called pilots or TIFs. Sometimes they will provide land for a company to expand or move into. From the state, they will often bring incentives based on training and education. They can also connect to federal money. And the electric company or the utility has incentives for companies that will use energy and often will do infrastructure improvements. So at that point, all the people on the team will get together and have lots of meetings to try to put together a good package that's going to help the company grow in the way that they want to grow. One of the first things they do is they give whatever project it is a strange name like Project Zebra. And so all the people on the team talk a lot and meet a lot and put together a package that they think is going to be most attractive for that company. And it's called a proposal. And the thing with the proposal, it's very important. It is confidential. Nobody can see what it is. And so at that point, you don't hear a whole lot about the project, because even if the project is quiet, there's still people from the company and still people on the team working on how do we make this the best deal. So even though they're talking, it's still very confidential. And meanwhile, back at the company, the site consultant and the people from the company are getting together and talking about who is really the best place for us to move. What's the best place for us to relocate? And so they look at their different options. And very often their options are all around the world. And so they make a decision, and ultimately, once they make a decision, they pick the place that they're coming. In this case, they picked my town. And so everybody's really happy. All the people from the company are happy. All the people on the economic development team are happy. There's high fives all around. And then what happens is they have a photo opportunity when they open their new facility. And then that is the picture that they took that goes here on the cover of the newspaper. And so that's how jobs get made and how they come to my town.